Hey there, my friend. So, I gotta ask you, did you catch that prediction floating around that the Cowboys won't even win 8 games this season? Yeah, you heard that right. Some so-called experts are saying we're barely scratching the surface with just over 7 wins. Now, I know the national media loves to throw shade at Dallas, but this one feels personal. And it all started with Krista Freeman using point spreads to come up with that number, 7.2 wins for the Cowboys in 2025. But, come on, let's be real for a second. Since when did point spreads become gospel? Vegas doesn't set those numbers because they've got some magical insight into the future. It's all about public perception. The whole goal is to get equal money on both sides of the bet. So if the Cowboys are underdogs in 10 games, it's not a guarantee they'll lose. It just means Vegas thinks most people believe they will. That's how they make money. So when Freeman turns around and says the Cowboys will finish around 7 wins based on that logic, she's buying into a narrative, not reality. Look, I'm not saying last season didn't come with its fair share of issues. Injuries piled up, we had to deal with backup quarterbacks, and the offense looked flat more often than it should have. But using that to write us off completely this year? That's lazy analysis, and honestly, it's just fueling the fire. Now, I'm curious, what do you think? Is 7 wins a fair projection for this Cowboys team, or is it another case of the media counting us out before the first snap? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Better yet, vote right now, yes or no. Will the Cowboys win more than 8 games this season? And hey, if you're tired of the national media constantly doubting our team, help us push back. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so we can hit 14,000 subscribers strong. Let's keep this Cowboys family growing. All right, now let's dive deeper into what's really behind this prediction. Because it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet or point spreads in Vegas, it's about perception. Right now, there's this growing belief among analysts that the Cowboys are heading into a decline, not because of who we are, but because of who we're not. Think about it. We didn't go on some big free agency spending spree. We didn't make a flashy coaching hire. And we didn't pull off a blockbuster trade during the draft. And because of that, people assume we've taken a step back. But here's the thing. What if quiet doesn't mean weak? What if it actually means focused? Mike McCarthy and this front office made it clear they're going all in on a specific vision. They doubled down on a power run game, they beefed up the trenches, and they're betting that internal development and team continuity will carry more weight than a couple of splashy headlines. Is that risky? Sure. But is it some doomsday scenario like the media's making it out to be? Absolutely not. Let's be honest, this team still has Dak Prescott, still has CeeDee Lamb, still has Micah Parsons wrecking offenses, and still has a locker room that's hungry after a bitter playoff disappointment. That doesn't sound like a 7-win team to me. That sounds like a team with something to prove. But I want to hear from you. Do you think the Cowboys made a mistake by keeping things quiet this offseason? Or do you think this run-it-back strategy could actually work in our favor? Type quiet confidence in the comments if you believe this team is being underestimated. And before we move on, let's get another vote going. Who do you think has more to prove this season, Dak Prescott or Mike McCarthy? Cast your vote, and let's see where the fan base really stands. We're just getting started, so don't go anywhere. Because in the next part, we're looking at the key factors that could blow this 7-win prediction right out of the water. Let's talk about what could completely flip this narrative. Because even if ESPN sees a 7-10 team, there are several reasons why the Cowboys could actually outperform that by a mile, and it starts in the trenches. This offensive line, if it stays healthy, could quietly become one of the best units in the NFC. Tyler Smith is entering his prime, Zach Martin is still elite, and Tyler Guyton, the rookie, has the tools to be a long-term anchor at right tackle. If that group gels, Tony Pollard may be gone, but the run game won't skip a beat, especially with guys like Ezekiel. Elliott bringing leadership and explosiveness still in short bursts, and Rico Dowdle getting more opportunities. On the defensive side, we already know what Micah Parsons brings. But it's not just him. DeMarcus Lawrence, Osa Odigizua, and the addition of rookie Donovan Iziruaku bring depth and disruption up front. This defense, especially the front seven, can set the tone every single week. And then there's Dan Quinn's departure. Some folks see that as a loss, but don't sleep on Mike Zimmer. He's a proven defensive mind who doesn't need flash to build dominance. In fact, his arrival might bring more discipline and smarter situational football to a defense that's already stacked with talent. Now let's not forget, the NFC East isn't exactly a gauntlet right now. The Eagles look strong on paper, sure, but Washington's rebuilding, the Giants are still in flux, and we know division games are always a coin toss. Winning 10 or 11 games isn't out of reach at all, especially with the schedule the Cowboys are facing this season. But now it's your turn. Do you think the Cowboys' O-line can hold up for a full season? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments. And here's a fun one. Predict Micah Parsons' sack total this year. Let's see who gets the closest by season's end. Coming up next, we're going to break down the potential trap games and where things could go wrong if the Cowboys don't execute. Because it's not just about potential, it's about consistency. Stick with me. Now, let's get real for a minute and talk about those trap games that could throw the Cowboys off their groove. Because it's easy to look at a schedule and see mostly winnable matchups and think, yeah, we're good. But that's where things get tricky. Take the matchups against teams like Minnesota and Denver. On paper, they might look like easier games, but those are exactly the kind of contests where the Cowboys have to stay sharp. Minnesota might be coming off a down year, but they're always physical, and their defense won't make it easy. Denver, meanwhile, has been quietly building a tough squad, and their home field advantage can surprise you. And then there's the reality of the division games, especially against Philadelphia. The Eagles are going to be fierce, and they always bring their best against Dallas. The Cowboys will need to execute perfectly, and that means no mental errors, solid play calling, and staying healthy. Speaking of health, injuries could be a huge factor again. Last season was brutal with key players sidelined at critical times. If the Cowboys can avoid the same fate, they'll have a much better chance of surpassing those Vegas predictions. But it's never a guarantee in the NFL, right? That's part of the drama we all live for. Also, let's talk quarterback depth. Dak Prescott needs to stay on the field and stay healthy, but the backup situation is still a question mark for many fans. Cooper Rush showed he can step in, but let's be honest, it's not the same level. Dallas needs their starter firing on all cylinders if they want to make a serious playoff run. So here's a question for you. Which game this season worries you the most for the Cowboys? Is it a division rival, a tough road trip? Drop your thoughts below. I'm curious to see where the fan base feels the biggest threat lies. And before we move on, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on all the latest Cowboys updates as the season heats up. We're aiming for 14,000 subscribers, and every one of you counts. Next up, we'll dive into the bigger picture, what this season means for the Cowboys' future and what they need to prove if they want to get back to the top.